I wanted to provide a brief visual tutorial on the new schedule templates. For me, this is a bit easier to understand than trying to read it through a document and certainly trying to read it through email. So, before we get started, I did want to provide a brief reminder of where we can find the schedules, not only for the staff who have been here, but for any new staff members that come after the templates have been created. So you can find the schedule board on our Trello workspace. It's called Schedules. And I will provide a little bit of a disclaimer. I know that Stephanie is going to be adding in a brand new schedule board specific for 2023. So that's just something to keep in mind. We work left to right with the months. So you can see here September, then October, then November. You can also find the desk schedule here, the time off request form, the shelving schedule, a link to our team up, and then of course our current templates. So with 2023, the schedules will be posted 3 months in advance. My hope is to have the January schedule out the week of October 3rd. When I post a schedule, I try to include as much information in the title card itself. You can see here with this particular schedule, October 8th to the 21st, I had to have some accommodations for staff day. You can find some more information by clicking on the card, and then of course the link. And if you hover over the link, you do get a brief preview. You can see that there were lots of blue schedule change blocks for schedule changes due to staff day. Okay. So that is where you can find the schedules where we post them. So for this tutorial, I am going to be using the week 1 and 2 template that will eventually, when it is changed to accommodate all of the holidays that we will have, will be posted on this schedule board. But for today's tutorial, we are using the template. So the first thing you might notice is across the bottom, we have a reference tab, we have a circulation tab, we have a point of rocks tab, and then we have a brand new substitute tab. The circulation and substitute tab used to be grouped together, but at times we have so many substitutes throughout the course of 2 weeks, it necessitated a change just to make it a little easier to read. So most of this, a lot of this actually has stayed the same. The title at the top, week 1 and week 2, will go in and fill in the individual dates here, and then of course your names. You might find that your names have been moved a little bit. We are now listing them by total number of hours worked, and then of course I try to do it alphabetically, but as people leave and arrive, it doesn't always stay the same. But for 2023, it will stay the same, and the desk schedule printout will match this schedule as well. So for today's tutorial, we're going to take a look at my schedule. So you can see my name. This 80 is the total number of hours I should be working every 2 weeks. So for our benefited staff, at the end of a pay period, that is what your final total should be in whatever combination. If you're working, vacation, sick leave, holiday, that's the total number of hours. In this case, there are some very special circumstances that are out there right now, but in most cases, we cannot go over that total number. Circulation staff and our part-time 20-hour staff can be a little different. I don't want to go into that right now. Screencast-O-Matic only gives me 15 minutes for this tutorial for free, so I want to make sure I cover all the most important details. If you have a regularly scheduled day off, it is in red and says off. So this is week 1, Saturday and Sunday, which I do not work, so I'm off. I work week 2, Saturday and Sunday, and then I have off the following Monday and Friday. So across the top are the hours that you are physically working. The second row is new. That is our lunch schedule. So this number will either be 30 or 60, and you will only have a number in this column if you are scheduled for a lunch. So you can see, because I work 8-hour days, I have a 30-minute lunch every day. As an example, Marie, on Monday, she works 5 to 9. She's not eligible for a lunch, so that space is blank. All right. The third row has the total number of hours per that day that I'm working. And then another new thing that we'll talk about in just a minute is the implementation of the time code in the fourth row. And we'll talk about that at the end. So, as with the current template, if there is a schedule change, I highlight it in blue. And you can see my Thursday, I've highlighted here as an example. I traditionally work 8:30 to 5 p.m. So I've highlighted this. I'm now working 12 to 9 with a 30-minute lunch, 8 hours. Who knows why I'm working that schedule? Maybe I had to swap with someone. Maybe I have an outreach. But that blue indicates it is a change from the template. And that is very important because as the email details, in January we have lots of changes due to the holidays. All right, total numbers for week 1 right here, total number for week 2 right here. These two numbers should always match this number unless you are a circulation employee, because that can be very different, as well as some special circumstances like I mentioned earlier. We're not going to go into those, but you will know if it impacts you if I've talked to you. All right, so let's go down to the bottom. This is something new that we have added in to the template. It is a key. If you have this purple here, now I will say this key is traditionally flush left against the workbook, but Screencast-O-Matic cuts it off, so I pulled it over here to the center so everyone could see what it is. If you are in purple, that means you have a shift at Point of Rocks. So you can see Marie works the week 1 Saturday at Point of Rocks, and Nina works the week 2 Saturday at Point of Rocks. Schedule change, it says changes to template. It is in blue, and as we've discussed, those changes are either your initiation, we have spoken to you, or we have spoken to you from management, things like holidays and a closure. All right? This is the time code that everyone should be most familiar with, WRK. It means you're working as you should be at your location or outreach or however. WRK. These 3 yellow ones are the most familiar time codes, along with this green one, that we use, that you implement in your schedule. All right, so VAC is what we use for vacation or annual leave. HLU is for holiday leave accrued, and then float, which is the traditional 2 or 1 day a year that individuals get at the start of every calendar year. Anything in yellow has to come in through what we refer to as the portal, through the time off request form. All right. Green is sick leave, and this sick is the code we use for sick leave. That is leave that you request with your supervisor. They generally forward to me your request. I make sure and get it on the template, make the changes that we need to make. All right. Of course, in light blue, we have holiday. This HOL is what you will see if you are eligible for holiday leave on your template. It is not something you put in. It's done automatically for us. That is a paid closure. If it says closed, that is an unpaid closure, meaning we either need for you to make up that time or you have to take your vacation. Again, things are very different for benefited versus unbenefited staff. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out and I will walk you through it even more in depth if we need to. All right. So this is the biggest change that you're going to see is the implementation of this key and then of course these codes. So at the end of the pay period, your timesheet should match exactly what it says in here. So I should see in a timesheet all the WRKs. If you have vacation, If you have float leave, it should match exactly, because as you send me these requests, as your supervisor notify me of sick leave, I make the changes to the template. So you can go in here at the end of the pay period and make it look exact. If it does not look exact, that is a discussion we would need to have with your supervisor to kind of see what happened. And like I said before, there are always some special circumstances with circulation and SOTS leave, which is something that's eligible to some of our staff, but not to everyone. It can get very confusing, and I understand that. And so I tried to make this template and these schedules as easy to read as possible. And I thought that 1, adding in the lunchtime, and then 2, adding in these time codes could kind of help us all immensely. So in the email, you have links to both the week 1-2 template and the week 3-4 template. Please do not hesitate to reach out to your supervisor or to me or Stephanie if you have any questions. We can continue to walk you through it. It's made some kind of dramatic changes to some people's schedules. We are now able to support Point of Rocks without relying on as many substitute hours. It's going to allow us to have consistent monthly department meetings and consistent bi-monthly staff meetings. And we will no longer have to change hours to accommodate staff members. It's working a lot better than the current template. And it has not been done for 5 or 6 years, so it was definitely needed. I really appreciate everyone's assistance in filling out their forms and meeting with Stephanie and myself, and having an overall super positive response to the fact that we all know this is going to help us all work better and more efficiently, and certainly provide better service not only for each other but for our patrons. So that's the template, and like I said, we hope to have a January out for you all to view the first week of October.